Bum 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 bum
Drama.
bum.
Action. Comedy. Palace intrigue. Story Squad presents Clash of the Pencils. All right, a frosty evening here in Milford, Delaware. But we've got some hot stories coming your way tonight here in Clash of the Pencils action. Slice, Racontus, Ehud, all back in the top three, battling it out. Who will come out on top of that epic week here shaping up between the three of them to see who's going to take home the NFTs. So here we are. Welcome back to the Clash of the Pencils nightly live stream, the most watched creative writing esport league live stream in the history of the internet. I am your host, Tom Sherman, and we're here as we are every weeknight to review the top three short story submissions from around the net, get the latest scores, see who's atop the leaderboard, and of course, review the top 5 sentences of the night. So quick reminder to all the folks out there how to play. Every night at the end of our live stream, we will reveal the prompt for the next day. So then all you have to do is go to clash.storysquad.app and look at the writing prompt and then write a quick story. Take a picture with your phone, upload it, submit it, and boom, you're in the game, ready to win some NFTs. Every day we field anywhere between 0s and 10s of submissions, which then get run through a high-tech data science algorithm known as Storybot 3000, which uses, among other things, lost aquariums to analyze every story for character, plot, and setting. We then take Storybot's top 3 picks and let you, the public, vote on them to determine tonight's winner. So alongside me today, we've got a certified master by the Breadloaf School of English, Greg the Reader Peterson. Welcome back, Greg, coming back from assignment.
An irritating wedding picture that virtually displays Leicester's one item in an array of his possessions, along with a sleek dog and a luxuriantly set dinner table. He radiates self-satisfaction. Her face is a mask of dull contentment. Hey, Tom.
Wow. Talking about a mask of dull contentment sounds like quite the vacation you had last night.
It's been a journey. AWS East is down, but we are still here. Yeah. Can't be stopped.
Bezos cannot stop us. Only we can. So that's how's the documentary going, by the way?
What documentary?
The one you keep calling out on Mondays because you're filming the documentary about the bees of the Antarctic.
Oh yeah, that. Well, we're filming on location, so getting in and out is a bit of a logistical nightmare to make it back in time for these.
All right, sounds like you're definitely doing that, and not just making it up.
But no, bees of the Antarctic. This is crucial scientific research. This is zoological global warming.
Right. Oh sure, believe it, people. Before we get underway, let's remind the folks what everyone's playing for tonight, besides, of course, fame and glory. And that's one of these, an IOU NFT. This exclusive 1 out of 10,000 NFT is actually an IOU for a future NFT from an upcoming drop from Story Squad. Although the current estimated cash value of the IOU NFT is $100 US, that's not quite the full value of NFTs. Think of NFTs like keys to the future. Right now, as humans, we interact with businesses and organizations much like ants might their queen, slaving away day in and day out for resources to give to the queen so that she may survive. NFTs turn this one-directional relationship into a community partnership. Owning NFTs of organizations will allow those owners special perks like early access to future products, exclusive content behind paywalls, and access to the inner community. Not only that, but NFTs are transferable, allowing owners to sell at a premium, which in turn appreciate all other NFTs held by community members. So NFTs are part art, part online identity, part admission to a virtual country club, part crypto speculation, part generational wealth, and all real, baby. And check this out. This week, all right, we're giving away IOU NFT number 50 out of
50.
100. Number 50. That is a fact. So that's coming on Thursday. That's Thursday's writing daily prompt.
Wow,
winner.
I can't wait. I can only imagine what Storybot. He's got a bias for these whole numbers, these round numbers.
Yes,
What he
an
comes up with.
oddly human characteristic in Storybot there. But normally you would think cold rational logic, all numbers the same, right?
Yeah, but he's processing it on a rational language usage of humans. So, yeah, that's why he's so good.
Right, you are. So let's see. Let's just get into this then and get closer to Thursday. And the only way we know how is by carrying forward second by second, minute by minute into this dark abyss we call life. So the leaderboard for the week is Ehud winning yesterday with 165 points, Slice coming in second with 125, and Racontus in third with 115. Joanna Man not quite able to make the top three with 59 points, and then Jabberwocky in fifth with 15. So start to the week, but hey, anybody's ball game out there. And look at today's writing prompt. The wind started blowing, the skies grew dark, and out of the sky fell blank.
Wow.
So it sounds like a bit of a plot device here, maybe some setting, not a lot of character. Where would you go with this if you were one of the authors?
Well, out of the sky, I mean, something's going to fall out of the sky that's going to have some sort of magical properties, it seems like, right?
Well, I mean, magic is not actually mentioned. Wind started, I mean, like definitely a storm is gathering.
It's
but,
like the vertical, it's the verticality of the message in a bottle that goes across the ocean, but coming down now from the sky.
Interesting.
Okay.
Gotcha. Well, there's only one way to see what the authors thought and what Storybot's favorites of the night were. And that's for me to start clicking these buttons erratically and without delay. So here we're starting with a story from Slice. Ace told us not to come, Maw. Ace told us about tornadoes coming. Hush, child. That boy's nothing but a child, the woman said to her granddaughter as they shuffled across the street, traffic lights swinging 30 feet away. Steps from Reed's pharmacy, the sky opened up like an abyss and lightning cracked, perfuming the air with pork fat. Christopher Walken fell from the heavens onto Mr. Reed's Chrysler, making the alarm chirp. The girl and her grandmother looked in awe at the human-sized hail. You know, Chris Walken said to the two after he sat up from the car roof and brushed glass off his sharkskin suit, I just flew into town, and boy, are my arms tired. He spoke like someone from outer space, his eyebrows hammering down with each awkwardly stressed word like keystrokes on an unoiled typewriter. His slick-backed hair and spaced teeth endeared the ladies. Hey, Charlie, give me a drink, pal. I got a headache so big, it's like the Chrysler building landed on me. They saw Mr. Reed's fat nose and mustache as he slid up a slat of the blinds from the pharmacy window and clicked off the alarm from his keys. What's with this guy? Walken said, winking. How's about we get a steak? The ladies nodded, still in disbelief, and they walked to the Sunstone Diner a block away. There, Christopher Walken talked everythingly about nothing. The three each had their own ribeye, potatoes, and a Coke. The girl prodded the woman and mouthed silently, your pills, to which the woman quickly smacked the fork out of her hand. They sat in the booth watching the tornado rip through Polkville, which splintered the pharmacy and crushed Ace dead at home with debris as he slept. As the sky bluened, Walken left a good tip, jogged comically through the diner door with a ding, and disappeared. Legend has it, he touched down in Boone the very next night. Okay, a girl and grandma spend an evening in the eye of a tornado with Christopher Walken. After ignoring Ace's warning of tornadoes, they see Walken drop from the sky onto a car. Walken says some halting, nonsensical sentences and then offers a steak dinner. So then they spend the rest of the night eating steak, potatoes, and having a Coke, watching a tornado crush the town before Walken leaves with a nice tip and a dance out the door.
This I was not expecting Christopher Walken to come down out of the sky. By the way, Storybot, incredible sound effects, incredible Christopher Walken voice. Definitely nailed that one. The line, everything Lee, this was describing how Christopher Walken, the character, was talking in the diner, talking everything Lee about nothing. I thought that might have been the title to the entire surrealist tableau. In terms of what's going on here, I think
yeah, let's dig into that.
I think there's some interesting bookends from a plot point of view, and that Ace told us not to come, and then the irony is Ace is, Ace, the one who's issuing the warning, is the one who, like, if you would have actually come, you would have been saved because you would have been in the eye of the tornado. I don't think tornadoes have eyes the way hurricanes do, but they might. They might.
I mean, it seems from this story that's what it seems like.
It seems like that was a safe sanctuary in this diner.
Right. Everywhere else outside of that tornado is getting destroyed, including the pharmacy. But, Walken just happens to drop down next to you and say, hey, come to the diner.
Right. And it was funny that Walken's talking about everything about nothing is its own kind of verbal tornado, right? In the actual diner. So it's like some sort of transposition of the chaos just into verbal form. I thought this was interestingly bookended. The character development, when the grandmother slaps away the pills, it led me to believe that this might have been imagined. This might have been some sort of collective hallucination. But it was an interesting scene. I thought the setting was very intense. The plot was pretty good. The characters, I guess Christopher Walken was such a caricature. But I wanted a little bit more about what the grandmother and the granddaughter were up to, what they wanted. It felt like a big interruption, vertical interruption, and they were saved. But I don't know. What did you think?
No, I mean, yeah, you hit a lot of the points that I'd highlighted in here as well. I thought the use of Christopher Walken as a metaphor for a tornado was just quite astounding. Yeah, like you said, out of left field. Never saw that one coming, but it worked really well. And it was visual too. I mean, the setting here is definitely what takes the cake. And yeah, what I took the pills, the grandmother swatting the kid away, or the fork out of the kid's hand, was more of like a redress for, the kid being like, oh, you shouldn't be eating steak and potatoes and drinking a Coke, and being like, the same sort of thing at the beginning where it's like, we shouldn't be out in a tornado. And it's like, if there's one thing I should be doing right now, it's eating steak and potatoes and drinking Coke with Christopher Walken inside the eye of the tornado. That's exactly what's keeping me from dying, not these pills. So I that's how I took that a little bit. I also enjoyed that Christopher Walken fell on a Chrysler and then says he feels like the Chrysler building fell on him. Something's going on there. A lot of symbolism. Cars. I don't know. Cars represent freedom a lot of the times, where you're mobile, you're able to. I don't know what's happening. Honestly, I felt like I was taken up in a tornado in that story, and then much like it just disappears, and you're left like looking at all this destruction in a nice blue sky, and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah, I do love Slice's wordplay. The word bluify was used as a verb. I thought that was pretty great.
Yeah, bluened. The sky bluened.
Yeah, that was great.
Also, Ace, in the first line of the story is something about Ace, and then they shuffle down the street, and so it was like this like oddly weird card imagery and like gambling and taking chances with life. I don't know. There's a lot to dig into in this. And that's why Slice is always a tough competitor here in the Clash of the Pencils Coliseum. But you know who else is a tough competitor?
Who's that?
A little somebody I like to call, well, it's because it's their handle, Raccoontoos.
Raccoontoos.
The outport had been struggling since the government enacted the new cod fishery laws. The people weren't hungry, not like before. They knew how to survive with scarcity. Restrictions had been put in place before. For 30 years, there were time limits and weight limits, and the people worked around it, tightening their belts and larders with each new law, hauling in what they could when they could. A full ban? That was hard to swallow. They preferred the bounty of the sea, but the land, too, was bountiful. They supplemented their menus with game. Ever had moose stew? It's delicious, but it's not cod. The townspeople put away vegetables harvested during the short growing season. Cellars were packed with dry goods, canned preserves, and game. But it wasn't cod. Cod. The delicious fish that had boats chasing schools in the North Atlantic for hundreds of years. At one time, cod was so plentiful that it jumped right into your dory. Leapin' fresh. The townspeople knew the laws were designed to help replenish the overfished stock. But knowing doesn't always make you feel better. After all, you can't make fish, and brew is out of Cape Sin. Asterisk. Fish and brewis, pronounced brews, is a traditional Newfoundland dish made from salt cod and hard bread. A capelin is a small fish, like a smelt. Interesting. With cod off the table, so to speak, the people in the outport planned their Christmas dinners. They were thankful for what they had and didn't dwell too much on what they didn't. The day before Christmas Eve, a strong storm blew in. Battened down in their hatches, the townspeople listened to the fierce wind howl and the freezing rain pelt the shutters for hours. When the storm was over, they looked out to see that the cove was covered. They looked out to see the cove was covered with cod, like leaping fresh manna from heaven. Word about the Tibbs's Eve miracle spread quietly from town to town on the peninsula, an open secret. After all, it wasn't fishing if it landed, right? The townspeople rejoiced. They made and shared their favorite dishes and put enough away to last the winter. Maybe this was once in a lifetime, or maybe it was the start of something new. Okay, a town restricted from eating cod, and although not life-threatening, just makes everyone severely lacking. I mean, the game, moose, vegetables, preserves, no substitute for cod. After what seems like years of sacrifice, a strong storm blows in a leaping fresh batch of cod like the days of old, which the town people reap enough for the winter, and wondering if this is the start of a new era. And also, I need to point out, I butchered that line about although no fish and brewis can be made out of smelt or capelin, but I enjoyed that footnote. There was a footnote in the. Anyways, sorry. I'm butchering this compliment to the footnote too, but I hope that didn't throw you too much out of the story.
The footnote was interesting, and it was a very, I don't know, a fish. I will give some setting. The olfactory, the taste bud. I could taste all these cod, how cod suffused all parts of life. It was an interesting story about like economic regulation, trying to overcome the tragedy of the commons, right? To replenish the stocks so that no one can have what they really want. Because if everyone had what they want, there'd be none of it left. And yet, in the end, all of that regulation is overcome by the cod NATO of sorts, and that it wasn't fishing if it landed. So we get some sort of technical, like most regulation, there's some sort of technicality that becomes a loophole that becomes exploited. Here, it's just miracle, But it is interesting about how a town is being sort of put on austerity, cod-sterity, and then able to get its magic back. So I thought that the setting and plot were pretty great for me. the characters, it didn't really, it stayed at the level of the town, and it almost felt
Right.
like it was a history of, rather
It
than a narrative that's in close, that first person headspace.
right. Yeah, that's in here. It says on my notes, townspeople are the characters here, and it's kind of like their versus a bit, their versus the government, a bit versus like just the past and historical overfishing, and a bit versus just themselves and whether they have the will to observe this, this austerity. So it was interesting, and what I really enjoyed about this zoom out yesterday, Racontuses was a very close zoom in of the furry creature was actually a mouse inside a cabinet listening to a conversation of two people outside of it. So it was like a very intimate 3-person, that's it. Not a lot of beyond that. But this one is on that other spectrum of like this massive, the characters are entities beyond just individuals. So it was an interesting juxtaposition and just a masterful sort of work again. I have it in here. It's like a Moby Dick. This is like the Moby Dick of Clash of the Pencils. I mean, you get, little COD action. You get some definitions of historical, precision. You got footnotes. It was it's almost like Racontus knew I was going to butcher how to say fish and brewis, and knew I wasn't even going to get it, and it was like, man, I gotta let these people know, like they're just that. Anyways, it was great. I thought it was great, and then it was just all COD all the time. I agree. The setting, the plot were there. The characters, I mean, they were out there. It was
a world. It was a coastal outport.
Yeah,
that had been struggling and now wasn't.
So that's that. All right, one more story to get through, and then we can keep on moving. So let's see what Ehud has to say.
It seemed like a normal day at the park. Sun streamed onto the sandbox. Seesaw and swing set merrily creaking beneath the weight of happy children chattering. Linda Hamilton watched from behind a chain-link fence her friend, Sarah Connor, lift a young child into one of those little plastic creatures on an industrial spring thing. It makes you wonder if we were raised playing in the wastelands of the Industrial Revolution well before historians declared capitalism a fraud. You know the things I'm talking about. So it was one of those days, and all of a sudden the wind picks up out of nowhere, blowing old newspapers into the fence, sand into the kids' eyes. The sky went completely black as a massive object blots out the sun. The most observant squinted to see a triple parachuted puffball pyramid fall to earth. The object bounced twice, then lodged into the ground affront the sandbox. The capsule opened like an armadillo. A gleaming robot outfitted with science instruments rolled onto Earth. A mission success celebrated galaxies away. I am AlphaBot, sent by Storybot 3000 to save Earth.
All right. So, a typical day at the park. Linda Hamilton watches her friend Sarah Connor put a child in a little spring thing toy, and then before you know it, the sun is blotted out by a parachuted lunar rover type object, which after bouncing twice and submerging itself right in front of the sandbox, opens up to reveal a robot sent by Storybot 3000 to save Earth.
This had different modes. What I loved about it was in one page because at first I kind of rolled my eyes. Right, we get this sort of pastoral realism, Linda Hamilton, Sarah Connor at the park, and then the moment we called the thingy, right, or there was that word. I was like, it seems interesting to choose that word as a description. And then from there, we change scales entirely, and we get this strange anti-capitalist commentary on this was the symptom, the canary in the coal mine, for the entire economic system of exchange has led to this thing. And then from the heavens open, we get this storm, and in the heavens, and this puffball pyramid of a gleaming thing about Storybot meta commentaries inserts itself into the proceedings, and then is going to save all of Earth. If Rockin' Tooses was like Moby Dick, I don't even know. This is larger. This is a larger world than that. I think where it suffers is like what happened to Linda. Like,
Right.
go by that thing.
Right. Yeah. That doesn't sound like it good. No, I believe, and it is Tuesday, so we do have our research team on hand, Lady J in the background. I think Linda Hamilton and Sarah Connor are both Terminator 2 references, and it might have been a the park scene. Remember, I don't know, have you seen Terminator 2?
I'm underwatched.
That's fine. That you're the reader, all right? I'm the watcher. I'm out here on the pulse of pop culture from the early 90s. And Terminator 2, there's a scene where the heroine is watching a playground as this atomic bomb explodes over Los Angeles and everyone like blows off into paper. So that was the setup. It was a visceral callback setup to that, it seemed to me. And from there, then yeah, it really takes a right turn once the child gets on that spring thing.
It was so deceptive too in laying the trap, because we got these like sing-songy words, and I was like, oh, this is, I don't know what's about to happen here. But clearly, it was just intended as just fodder, descriptive fodder, because it was going to be blown up anyway.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, exactly.
It wasn't genuine description.
No, exactly. It really drew us in, and then the old I don't know,
The
1 2 skidoo, if you will. Yeah, characters. I mean, the only character I think there was less characters than in Raccoon Tooses. Really, it seemed like a plot. Like there was plot.
There was plot, but I would say if I had to rank the plots, I would say Slice had the tightest plot.
Okay.
Even though it was plotless about Christopher Walken spilling nothing, because it had a beginning, a middle, and an end. If I'm thinking about plot as a function, I want an arc, right? There's that beginning, middle, and end, and the end needs to pay off what the beginning sets up. I guess there's the plot on a more macro level in the second one in Raccoon Tooses, where we start out with cod, like the cod fishery laws, and then we get the if it wasn't fishing, if it landed exception to that. So that kind of also plays us off. Here we just have a Terminator 2 callback, a little diatribe on capitalism, and then the puffball pyramid with the Alphabot Storybot thing. And I don't know if those three pay off in as tight a thing. What about you?
I can't. I'm between these three stories. They all went in such different directions, really, that I can't, I don't know. You know what? And that's why this is all pointless, because it doesn't really matter what I think, and it doesn't really matter what you think. It only matters what Storybot 3000 thinks, which that's how we got these top three. And then after that, it only matters what the public at large thinks. So I'm going to hit this update leaderboard button. Storybot 3000 telling me it is updated successfully. So now all we have to do is bring this in and then hit refresh. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Boom.
There it is. Slice coming in on top with 165 points. Raccoon Toos coming in second with 140. Second day in a row. No, not actually second day in a row. Ehud in third with 100. And then Joanna Man still on the outside looking in with 81 points. Let's hope that doesn't send him into a bad day. for the weekly scores, Slice now on top here with 290 points. Ehud in second with 265. Racontus right on Ehud's heels with 255. Juana Man not out with 140 points. And Jen Jabberwocky there with 15. Gonna a lot of ground to make up there for Jabberwocky, but still possible. Still possible. And all right, so tomorrow's writing prompt: use the line "Somebody cowboy the milk."
Wow, cowboy is a verb there. Cowboy up.
Cowboy up that milk. Where would you go with this? If someone told you cowboy the milk?
Tom, I have no idea. I would.
This is one of those ones where you're gonna have to take a walk and think about
I'm
it.
gonna have to take a walk. I'm gonna have to take a walk. It feels like it invites a kind of food allergy story to me. A real heroic food allergy kid has to do something by consuming this milk to save the world, and then get mildly nauseous and bloated.
Wow. Yeah, I would read that, I guess. If Storybot told me it was a top 3 pick. Sounds good. But speaking of mild food allergies, let's talk about something that is not a mild food allergy, and that is the top 5 sentences of the day. Are you ready for this?
Let's do it.
All right. Number 5 from Juana Man. Better yet, Arthur J. proposed he buy Hamilton a NASA-grade supercomputer. Storybot 3000 seems like enjoying that NASA-grade supercomputer reference.
Yeah, that tickles Storybot.
Yeah, big time. Number 4 from Racontus. Ever had moose stew? It's delicious, but it's not cod. Just that driving, yearning for cod.
Yeah, this was a cod
Infiltrating.
world. Yeah.
Every aspect of that story. Number 3 from Ehud. Linda Hamilton watched from behind a chain link fence her friend Sarah Connor lift a young child into one of those little plastic creatures on an industrial spring things that makes you wonder if we were raised playing in the wasteland of the Industrial Revolution well before historians declared capitalism a fraud. Quite a sentence. A lot going on.
Quite a sentence. So much here. I want to know who these historians were. Got a lot of authority in the New World Order to just make blanket statements like that.
It's true. I think my favorite part here is Linda Hamilton watched from behind a chain link fence. So this clause literally separating her from the rest of the sentence. That's wow. That's
I'm
deep.
also a fan of the hyphens. Those little plastic creatures on an industrial spring things.
Yeah, because honestly, I couldn't tell you
what they
called.
are.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Talking it and getting the theme that the capitalism is a fraud right there. And then are we those creatures on the spring? I don't know.
Man, makes you think. It really does. Number 2 from Slice. Oh, what's with this guy? Walken said, winking. How's about we get a steak?
Clearly, Storybot is a Christopher Walken super fan, as we all are.
I mean, if that's not programmed into Storybot, like, what's the point?
Right. It is now. It is now for the story. That's
a fact. Number 1 from Racontus. After all, you can't make fish brewis out of capelin. And then, of course, the asterisk to the footnote, fish and brewis, pronounced brews, is a traditional Newfoundland dish made from salt cod and hard bread. Capelin is a small fish like a smelt.
This is our little Melville / David Foster Wallace footnote. And I love the pronunciation, just so Racontus knows that we're
just butchering it, butchering her great art right in front of her, like a badly mangled fish from a junior fishmonger, just not even leaving all the bones in. But and the first use of a footnote in Clash of the Pencils play. So put that in the Hall of Fame. That's gonna be out there. The kids are gonna study that.
Well, I think on the whole tonight, a lot of interesting stories. I think the prompt wanted some sort of surrealistic catastrophe from something falling from the sky. I think we got a really large range of that kind of thing. And I think how that impacted plot was the most interesting, because that's in a one-page story, in a one-page sprint. That's quite an interruption.
It sure is. And great work all around. Congratulations to Slice getting an IOU NFT, not number 50. That's coming on Thursday night. But an IOU NFT nonetheless. So that wraps up another round of the Clash of the Pencils nightly live stream. So until next time, we'll see you out on the paper. If you want to play Clash of the Pencils and win some NFTs, don't worry, it's easy. All you got to do, grab a notebook, grab a pen, go to clash.storysquad.app in your internet browser, check out today's writing prompt, and then write a story. All right, once you're done with that, all you got to do, take your phone, snap a picture, and then upload. It's just that simple to play and win in Clash of the Pencils.